What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where it's about the latest and greatest cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shan Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
Chris Abacan.
What's going on, everybody?
And Daniel Acevedo.
Let's go, guys. The Fantastic Four of cybersecurity world is back at it again.
What's going on? Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So Monday and Tuesday, our topics. Wednesday, discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. And then Fridays, everything else. Movies, books, games, all that good stuff. But without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
I just want to put it out there. I'm Johnny Storm. I just want to put it out there.
You're Johnny Storm?
I'll be Johnny, except if I'm in Deadpool. I don't want to be. I know I'm not the smartest, so I can't be Reed. But anyway. This next one comes from BloombergLaw.com. It's contributed to by Daniel Elan, Megan Medeiros, and Melissa Ferragasso. All right. And the title of this one is Businesses Need New AI Governance in Cybersecurity and Privacy. So this is something that's not new, right? So like with the uptick of AI being used everywhere, right? Like we need to have, and we are seeing it, right? Where governments are putting governance out there when it comes to how to do AI, right? How to deal with AI, right? Because we kind of talked about it a little bit offline, but it's like nobody really knows, nobody's really too in the game with this when it comes to businesses, right? Like they're trying to figure it all out as well, right? We make jokes about, oh, what is this? What is this? But they really are trying to figure it out. Whether you're the good guys or the bad guys, like AI is being used by everyone, right? People are using it in school all the time, right? So now you got teachers that are trying to combat it to be like, I want you to write this paper. I don't want AI to do it for you, right? Like I want you to be able to do it. And there's different tools that are out there that can try to figure these things out, right? But what they talk about here is, again, businesses needing AI governance. And Ryan, when you put this out there, you sent it to me and you were like, hey, man, Colorado's out there kind of trend setting, you know what I mean? And I was like, really? And
yeah, ahead of the game.
Yeah, the Colorado AI Act was what they had. It was back in the summer. It was back in May of this year. Was something that they put out there. And when they released it, right, when they put it out, they were like, hey, this is not something that we're like, hey, we think the states need to be doing it. We're doing it to prove the point that this needs to be federally mandated, right? So like, yes, you'll have different states that are doing things with it, but the federal government needs to be on board, right? Especially with the resources that they have, right? Your scissors and things like that are out there to be able to kind of deal with these types of things. But they were ahead of the game. It was like I said, it was May of 2024. They had the Colorado AI Act kind of nudging the federal government to get ahead of the game. You know what I mean? But Daniel, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, it's a good article. And I think we kind of alluded to that. What you're saying right now is, I think for the federal government or organizations that handle secure information, those kind of things, they're already kind of doing this, right? NIST already has frameworks for it. Says lots of the big security organizations have stuff out there. But for everyday normal businesses day to day, the use of AI, generative AI, how does it work? What are we protecting? What are we doing? And we've seen this before, right? Go back to when the internet was created. These type of issues existed back then. All of a sudden, there's technology that was out in the world that they didn't know the extent of how it could impact the day-to-day user, the day-to-day company. And now, retroactively, the government was like, hey, we need to make legislations and rules and laws and governments to kind of put this into place before this gets out of hand. I mean, and our listeners are really smart. They can Google this stuff. But kind of the first hack, the first worm that was laid out on the internet, there was laws and regulations that was created from that moment on, right? To both persecute the person that did it. And the writing was in there, hey, intentionally or unintentionally, if you do these things on the internet and it causes harm to other people, X, Y, and Z, these are the ramifications. Before that stuff didn't exist. And there was people abusing being able to be on the internet, right? Or using a computer for those kind of things. Same thing for information, privacy, and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to happen. We've talked about this a lot. AI, I see it in a lot of ways as the next internet shift. It's the next big technological shift that we'll have before AI and after AI, right? Just like we had before the home computer and before the internet and afterwards. Share of information, the ease of doing things, how we acquire information and are able to share it and utilize it for whether it be good, medical procedures, solving complicated issues, or how can I trick this person to selling me, $5,000? We're going to see both sides of it. Go ahead. What do you say, Shannon?
So you're saying like the AI age will not be a part of the internet age, as they call it, right? Like, are you saying
I think
it's all to itself?
it's the next step, right? We used to live before a world that was heavily dominated by the internet, and I think over the last 5 years, the world was kind of in a lull. And I think now AI is going to be that next stepping stone in civilization, and we won't remember 15 years from now a time when we didn't have AI or used it for a purpose, just like the way we use the internet every day. So this kind of goes hand in hand with how we've seen the technology evolve and adapt in the everyday use. But Chris, do you think I'm crazy here, or what are your
I think
thoughts?
so. I think they do talk about privacy and cybersecurity as well, right? So I do want to go over privacy really quick for our listeners. So privacy, right? Privacy is the right for a person to control their information, right? So you let's say you're a user of X platform, you have a right to say, hey, look, company, do not share my information, right? That's privacy. What you as a customer or client, whatever, can do and have the right to control your own personal information. And there's a difference between that and confidentiality, which is an agreement to ensure that that information is kept secret, right? There's a difference between those two. Now, where privacy and AI and cybersecurity all come into play is AI governance is really important because AI can touch all this data, right? AI can get to these old data sources. And unless you have some type of governance in place and an agreement with said vendor of AI, hey, look, you cannot do this, this, and this, and this, you can impact, right, the privacy of your customers and clients because there's no AI governance in place, right? So, I mean, it's a like chicken and the egg thing, but again, privacy, confidentiality, cybersecurity, and AI are all really interconnected in this, right? So
it is. I want to give like a nerdy, like a non-cyber example of this, but the whole thing that happened in the movie industry is based around what you're saying right now, right?
Correct.
Using the likeness of the actors without their consent.
Correct.
And then for the writers as well. Yeah. Then having Scarlett. And then having the writers too, right? They want to protect the writers' ability to make money in that industry and not have AI now all of a sudden learn from Christopher Nolan and the great that are making movies, and then have them create watered down versions of different things and then just sell them off. So there was a whole strike that happened within a year and a half. But to kind of create the legislation and regulations behind the movie industry. So we're seeing local businesses now are pivoting to the private industry in the same aspect on how they're able to use generative AI in the business.
And you just got me. I agree, man. And you just got me thinking about local artists, right? They're losing their jobs to guys that can. I mean, hey, Midjourney and all this stuff exists, right? So it's tough out there.
Go ahead, Chad. Chad's bursting at the seams over here.
I want to play devil's advocate a little bit here on a couple things, right? So what you were talking about, Chris. Yes, people have a right to privacy, right? But are we giving it up? Like if we're not reading the EULA, if we're not reading the terms of service that say yes, they are going to have this information shipped out to whoever, and we just click accept or hit the check box and then submit, right? Like we're giving it up, right? At that point. So yes, we do have. They're not making us use X. They're not making us use any of the Meta products that are giving away our privacy, right? Like you have the ability to not use them, but we're saying, yes, we do agree, right? They're tracking that whenever we agree to do that. But also to play devil's advocate with the whole, the artist thing, right? So you guys have seen iRobot, right?
Yeah.
So remember when Sonny is drawing the picture and then Spooner's talking to him and he's like, can you create a symphony? Can you do this? Can you do this? And then he asks him, he said, can you? It's so you're telling me I can't do these things, but you can't do them either. You know what I mean? So it's where's the line here when it comes to that, right? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's definitely a good point. But I think that's why privacy specifically, as you alluded to, because we can agree to all these EULAs and whatnot. But there is the FTC out there, or there are these federal agencies that say, hey, look, Meta, you need to make sure that you have the ability for you have to give the capability of your users to say, hey, look, whatever pictures that they post, they have the right to say that's not yours, right? That is a thing.
The
right?
EU does a better job of it. The EU does a better job of enforcing it, right, out there.
Yeah.
They have the 8 pillars or whatever it is they have
for GDPR, right?
GDPR,
Exactly. Yeah, we just want to make money in the States. That
Yeah.
is gold,
Yeah, yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
But to circle back to this specifically, that's where this comes into play because it's talking about everyday businesses and the information that whether the
Mhm.
business or the users that provide the business, how that's being used for AI itself. And they touch on like, financials and PI and those kind of things. There needs to be good regulations behind that. Because I mean, if I'm trying to sign up with a bank or trying to sign up with any organization, whether it be like a gym or something, and I have to put my financials in there, and then all of a sudden they have some dopey app that has AI built into it that's not
true.
one privacy or securing my stuff behind on the back end of it. And now they get exposed easily because there's no framework in place that say, hey, if you're going to use an AI app, you have to have these things in place for it to be status quo. Now all of a sudden, the little bit of money I'm making, I lost it because I'm trying to, do good by my body and go work out in the morning. So now I'm out of shape and I got no money. So it's like a double whammy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll get back in shape because then you got to work like 2-3 jobs. You'll be like the new Jamaican
Yeah,
sensation.
and I can't eat either. So yeah,
Him got 3 job.
No, I
Oh,
think
man.
I think you guys bring up a lot of really good points. I would urge anybody who's actually interested in this to excuse me, to read the NIST 600-1, the Artificial Intelligence Risk Management Framework, Generative Artificial Intelligence Profiles. So A, if you have a hard time going to sleep, it'll put you out. But B,
Yep.
it'll make you think more deeply about the things that are integrated into your business already and how AI might be touching it, right? So as a consultant, right, put my consultant hat, you definitely need to figure out like a survey or just a huddle or what have you. Question on Slack. I don't know what you use in your business. Are you guys using AI to do government or to do business or to do work? Aside from your Word or your Quillbot or your Grammarly, are you putting any information into various chats to extract data to then write an email, to make a survey? Like just ask those questions and then figure out like, do I need to build an acceptable use policy? Do I need to have some kind of employee handbook provision written about AI? Like how deeply are we in the use of AI? And then how do I protect the company from the employees who are using the AI within our
Yeah.
company, right? I would just highly think about it at just at a high level, right? 50,000 view. And it's only 64 pages, but it goes from CBRN, which I didn't think I'd ever see again outside of the military, right? The chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons and other dangerous materials and agents, all the way down to data privacy, confabulation, which is the use of AI to confuse or to misdirect people, information security, integrity, harmful and bias. Like it goes obscene and degrading and abusive content. Like it goes the full gamut. So it shows you that this thing is bigger than just PII, PHI, right? Like AI can be used in various different ways. You need to know, like, is my company protected, from itself when it comes to the use of AI? So I would highly recommend you as a business owner or someone in the C-suite read this and then try to see if you can manipulate it based upon your industry or your IP or what have you. Because someone in your company's using it. Like it may just be for emails. It may be just like, hey, I want to make sure this is clearly defined, brief, and professional. And they take a bunch of different information that they were going to write, and then they put it into ChatGPT or whomever, and it's sharing that information with the larger language model, unless you have your
Yep.
own
Private,
yeah,
LLM or something like that.
yeah, something like that, which most people do not, or
Nope.
most people cannot afford, right? Like
Yep.
OpenAI is charging $2,000. Like I really want to play with it, but I don't have $2,000 a month because I want to
Just
know like what's or not $2,000? Is it 200? It's 200 a month. I want to
Is
know
it
what
per
the difference.
user or something
I
like
thought you
that?
say $2,000 a month.
Yeah,
I
it's
was like,
200.
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I ain't
Make
got
it
that either.
very
I ain't got that either. But like, because I spent $20 and it's doing some
same.
amazing things. What does 200 get me? You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh, that's a whole. That might be I might be able to replace myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to
Or
know what's up there.
you forgot one thing. Or they could also just contact you and just hire you, and then you can tell them what they need to do. That's
Yeah,
also on the table.
I will preach the 600-1 to you because I've written a couple of acceptable use policies. That that is in itself is not hard. It's the doing the business impact analysis, right? Like I need to know as
Yes.
much about the business as you're willing to share with me in order to figure out like how in danger you are based upon whatever framework goes to your industry. Same thing. Chris does the same thing. Same thing with the other two the ISOs and the isms in this room as well, right?
So for you, but with you guys being in the civilian sector, it's more BIAs, right? Like, so for me being in ISO for the government, it's an SIA. So security impact analysis
Ah, okay,
is what
gotcha.
I spend a lot of my time doing, right? Because I'm working for DoD. I'm not in the business of making money, right? I say that, right? We'll see. We'll see when Doge comes up whether or not we're in the
Right.
business of making money. But but for me, it's just a security impact analysis. Like, how does this affect security on the system that you have?
Right. Yeah, so at the end of the day, you really got to look into it because I agree with Daniel. Like, I think we are entering a new age, right? Like, I don't think it's just a matter of retrofitting AI to the internet,
Hmm.
right? And then doing things with it. I think that this is a brand new beast. Like, it could be just as simple as an email all the way to like legitimately using this information to cause bias and consternation within a demographic of people. Like it bleeds into so many things, whether it comes to intelligence, counterintelligence. You can do so much with this information just from a generative standpoint. And we're not even at AGI yet, right? Like, what is
Hmm.
that going to do once we get up and running? Because the Sam Altmans of the world believe that it's right around the corner. Whether that be true or not, who's to say? However, like in the next decade, something's going to happen. We're going to see something we're like, ooh, I don't like that. So it's going to rear its ugly head. So you just need to get ahead of it. And you, as a business owner, you need to definitely get ahead of it because your employees are already using it. I guarantee it. Guarantee. So
Facts.
definitely continue to tune in. Again, Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP, and then Fridays everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. You can hit us up at all the social medias that go by our name, the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP. Give me a personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can pretty much find me everywhere, but LinkedIn is where I'll respond the quickest to you. And where can they find you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn under my name, Chris Abacon. Last name is spelled A Bacon.
And you, Daniel?
On LinkedIn as well under my name, Daniel Acevedo.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.